Really, I know it's not quite fight week just yet, but it feels like it. You're here in Las Vegas, so how exciting is this for you? I mean, headlining International Fight Week, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. You were just getting into the UFC, and now you're at the top of the sport.
Very happy to be able to headline this kind of event. I remember I fought once in the preliminary cards in the International Fight Week. Now that I have the chance to headline this event, I'm very happy and very excited.
You've clearly won a title before, you've defended a title before, but now going for a second title, is the mental challenge, is the thought process, the feeling, is it any different than those other championship matchups you've already had?
This is the happiest I ever have been in my training camps because of the weight cut. I have been able to enjoy the whole process. And I feel ready, man. I don't know. I think you guys are not even expecting to what you're gonna see on June 28th.
So a lot of us think like, a move to a weight class, it's just the weight cut, it's just that week. Are you saying that you think this weight class change has changed everything for you and how you've been able to prepare moving into this fight?
Everything, because at the end of the day, that 10 pounds makes a lot of difference, in my life. Because before I had to be like for 12 weeks cutting the weight. I haven't been able to enjoy like anything because I have to be like professional at the same time in the fight game and also in the nutrition part. So this time I have been able to enjoy the whole process and I'm very happy.
As happy as you are, is there any sadness that you don't get the opportunity to be the simultaneous champ? The one belt over each shoulder, that classic iconic image. Are you sad that you don't get to try to accomplish that?
I don't care. Anyways, I'm gonna put the both belt in my shoulders. Anyways.
We thought maybe it'd be Islam Makhachev here. Obviously, it's Charles Oliveira instead. Any disappointment in that? I mean, it's a title. It's actually an undisputed championship, and he's a legitimate guy. But is there any upset that you didn't get to take it off the guy that was the champ?
Yeah. To be honest, I wanted to face him because he was the guy who was dominating everyone in that weight division. But at the end of the day, I can't control what they do. The only thing I can control is what I do. So I wanted to move up. I wanted to fight for the title. This is what I'm doing. So he decided to move up also. So I can't do anything else than go and fight whoever wants to fight me.
Do you feel Charles presents any different challenges, any more challenge? Do you look at, I don't want to say easier opponent, obviously he's dangerous, but is it a more dangerous fight or a less dangerous fight than it would have been had it been Islam?
More dangerous fight than Islam, you say? I don't know. Every fight is a huge challenge. There's no easy fights when you get in this level. So they both represent a difficult matchup, of course, because they are both great athletes. They have completely different styles. So I don't know what to tell you. They're both difficult fights.
Yeah.
There's no easy fights.
I know you don't want to get away, talking about game plan, but people think of you in the UFC as a knockout artist. But before you came to the UFC, you were a submission threat, right? Obviously, we think about Charles' submission skills. Is this your power against his submission skills? Do you feel like maybe this is a matchup where you can prove, hey, I'm a great grappler too?
To be honest, I feel that I have the advantage in the grappling game also. I feel and I know that I'm better than him even in the ground game. So we'll see how the fight will go, because if I have to submit him, I have all the abilities to do that also. So we'll see. I can knock him out, I can submit him, whatever. The only thing I know for sure is that I'm going to knock him out in the first round or submit him in the first round, because he walks forward. I'm not going to need to close the distance with him. Since the first moment, we are going to find each other in the center of the octagon. So, yeah, it's going to be a first-round finish.
Ilia, if you look at Charles's most famous fights, right? Dustin, Gaethje, the two Chandler fights, he gets dropped in each fight. But he comes back and he wins those fights. So when you see that, do you look at it and go, man, if these guys drop him, I'll get him? Or do you look and think, man, if I hurt him, I still have to be very, very careful because he always comes back and wins?
If I hurt him, he's not going to have the chance to come back. Because my power is completely different than the other guys you mentioned before.
Volkanovski, Holloway, Oliveira, would that be the best 3 wins back-to-back in MMA history?
I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no.
There's been a lot of talk in MMA about ducking at the moment. John Jones ducking Tom Aspinall, stuff like that. This was meant to be Islam, that was the big talk. But he moved up to welterweight. Do you believe he moved up to welterweight to avoid you, or because he has his own goals?
Because he has his own goals. This is what I think.
Do you still think that's a fight that should happen? You guys are both forging legacies in different weight divisions. Do you think that's a massive fight that should happen?
We'll see how he does in the welterweight division. If he wins the title, I win the title in the lightweight division. Maybe I move up or he comes down to the lightweight division and we have the fight that everyone wants to see.
Last one for me, obviously, the Oliveira fight is a massive fight, but the one that's sort of been brewing for years and been brewing in the background is this Paddy Pimblett fight. Do you feel if you were champion that he still needs to win one more before he gets that shot, or are you almost willing to give him that early to have that big grudge match and sort of finish that storyline?
For sure he needs to win one more fight because there are more contenders in the division that deserve the title shot before him. So if he wins the fight, he puts himself in a position where he can fight for the title. I will give him the opportunity to fight for the title because we have a history behind, so it's going to be a massive fight.
Speaking of other contenders, I mean, there's a lot of guys, but I mean, one can think of maybe a guy like Armin Strickland. I know we'll focus on Charles Oliveira, and maybe you see a guy like him as a future opponent, maybe the next one after Charles.
Arman, he needs to win also a fight. He had his opportunity to fight for the title. He pulled out for, I don't know for what reasons. So he needs to put his name again in the conversation.
And speaking of big fights and big atmospheres, obviously you've been very vocal about the Bernabeu situation, and we know Dana's stance on stadium events, but he is promoting Canelo Crawford later this year at Allegiant Stadium. So is there any part of you that really hopes he has a great experience promoting that at the stadium so he can maybe change his mind on doing the inevitable at the Santiago Bernabeu?
So to be honest, the conversations that I have with them, like, I don't know if I want to do it in Spain in the stadium, because if they make that happen, I had to fight at 4 in the morning local time. So I don't want to do that, to be honest. I'm a professional athlete. I want to fight in good conditions. You know what I mean? So if something changed and they gonna do it in a prime time, in the local time, of course, yes, it will be huge. If not, I prefer to fight always in the United States.
Ilia, Oscar mentioned earlier about the consecutive fights, the caliber of these fighters. For you, how has your faith been so instrumental through this process leading to where you are now?
Can you repeat that question, please?
How has your faith in God been instrumental to how you've gotten to this point now?
My faith in God bring me to this point. Everything I have belongs to Him, to the vision He gives me every day, and the strength He gives me. So.
And then just a side one real quick. I know you talked to Rogan a few months ago, talking about how much you love books. What book are you reading right now in preparation to this fight?
¿Qué ha dicho?
¿Qué libro están leyendo ahorita para la preparación de la pelea?
Charles de Bronx de Oliveira. I'm reading his book.
On that note, Ilia, how much do you like study his just his life story? You know, they just came out and said they're going to turn his life into a movie. You made the joke that you're reading him as a book. Like, do you really get to know your opponent on like a human level before you face him?
Not really. The only thing that I can see and I can feel that he's a good person. He has a good sportsman also. He represents a good values. So I don't have anything against him personally. You know, the only thing is that we're going to fight. So I'm not going to be kind to him before the fight. After the fight, I'm going to wish him all the best and fast recovery.
You're in this like familiar spot again where it's like you're fighting like a guy that people love. Like they loved Alex, loved Max, you know, like does that wear on you ever? Like, can I just fight somebody that people don't like at some point? Are you feeling that at all coming into the point?
Not really. You know, when I get the call and they told me that I have to face a guy, I don't care if the people loves him or not. I don't know. But of course, I would prefer to fight to someone that the people don't like it that much as Charles or Walk or Max Holloway, because I don't know if you can find many people that say something bad about them. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
You think at the end of your career we'll think about you more as a featherweight or a lightweight?
Lightweight.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you kind of talked, obviously, the mood is better, you're enjoying camp better. What other differences are there, that, like, not having to think about that weight for 12 straight weeks?
To be honest, the weight cut is the main reason that gives me the opportunity to enjoy the whole process, because when you're hungry, when you're tasty, when you're facing that kind of things, you can't really enjoy anything, you know. So in this time, even at this point, I'm good. I don't feel hungry, I don't feel tasty, I feel with energy. If I was fighting in the featherweight, at this point I was like, I don't know, struggling a lot, which is not the case right now.
Like at this point in the week, like with a week to go before weigh-in, are you, the amount that you'll actually physically cut, is it a lot less, or is it similar?
A lot less, it's 10 pounds less.
Yeah. So you basically kind of weigh the same, you just won't be cutting as much.
What you said?
So you'll be around the same weight, you're just not cutting as much?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He talks about you fighting these beloved fighters, these beloved heroes of the sport. Do you hope one day that people view you in the same way they view a Max Holloway, an Alex Volkanovski, a Charles Oliveira? Does that matter if the public support is there for you or not?
Of course, if you get the public support, it's always great, it's always important, but they have their history with the fans, so what can I do with that, you know what I mean? Even me, I'm fan of those guys. I'm fan of Walk. I always like to watch him fight. With Holloway, I like his fight style. I like him as a person, the values he represents. With Oliveira, the same. He has, like, I don't know, the most finishes in the UFC history. But when it comes to competition, I have to do my job.
And one other thing, we can't get ahead of ourselves with UFC 317, but you know there have been 2 division champions before. There's never been a 3 division champion. You got to accomplish this first, but I hear people saying maybe this guy's so good he can go do it at 170 also. Do you let yourself have that fantasy as well?
If Islam becomes the welterweight world champion, for sure I'm gonna push for that shot also, and I will move to the welterweight division.
Yeah, can I do these in English and Spanish? So that way my colleagues can get the sound bites as well?
Me encanta.
We just have like 2 questions, so please go ahead and choose whatever.
Okay, you mentioned that about, you talked in the past about the power of mental strength. What role does visualization and mental preparation play for you before each fight?
So the mentality it's everything, because when you are in the backstage, if you don't have the right mentality, you're fucked, because you are facing, I don't know, so many conversations with yourself that you gotta have that strong mentality. So
¿Y qué consejos las darías a quienes sueñan a llegar al UFC pero enfrentan dificultades desde sus comienzos?
bueno, el consejo es lo de siempre, ¿no? Que confíen en ellos mismos, que no esperen nada de nadie, que organicen sus hábitos, porque no podemos decidir nuestro futuro, pero sí podemos decidir nuestros hábitos, y nuestros hábitos deciden nuestro futuro, por lo que uno tiene que tener buenos hábitos si quiere alcanzar algo en su vida.
En español, recuerdo que había gente que pensaba que la pelea de Ryan Hall en 2020 iba a presentar muchos problemas y obviamente saliste que demostraste en todo el mundo. Entonces, desde esa versión de ella ahora la versión de ella que va a pelear por otro sitio en la televisión, ¿qué ha cambiado?
Pues la verdad que nada. Lo que ha cambiado es que tal vez soy mucho más maduro, mucho más experimentado, mucho mejor en todos los aspectos, porque gracias a Dios no he perdido el tiempo nunca, siempre he ido mejorando en todo, así que cada vez que entro en el octógono siempre ven y verán una versión mejor de mí. Sí, claro.
Representas tanto a Georgia como a España. ¿Cómo manejas esa doble identidad cultural en tu carrera y qué significa para llevar a ambas banderas?
Pues lo llevo con muchísimo honor, con muchísimo respeto, con muchísima responsabilidad. Para mí es un honor representar a dos países con tanta historia como España y Georgia, y siempre es un honor recibir el apoyo, el cariño y el amor de los dos países. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.